Welcome everyone to Holiday Gatherings Q&A. This is part one of a two-part series. I will be back again on Friday with the second part. About a week ago on Instagram stories, I had asked you what your questions were regarding holiday gatherings. I said anything goes. I received so many questions in DMs on my Instagram that I really believe this required a YouTube video. Well, I was thrown an abundance of questions, so I decided to break it down into two videos. Today we're going to talk about gift giving, we're going to talk about the party invitation, and then we're actually going to talk about the party. But we're not going to hone in on necessarily the people at the party and the drama and the negative energy and this person trying to take control and this person doing that and this person's talking politics and how do I handle this person and deal with this person and fix this person and mold this person. That video is a video all to itself, and there's an amazing amount of questions, a lot of them very similar, but I will be back here on Friday to talk about those. So be sure to watch for that. Make sure you're subscribed, ring the bell. You will get immediate notification when that video goes out. Also, I have two videos that I did last year that are on all these topics. 10 tips on how to be a classy lady during the holidays and tips on how to be an amazing and proper party guest and party host. Those videos will be linked in the description box as well as all of the Christmas gift guides. So let's get started. We have a lot of questions to cover and we are going to start with holiday gifts. Should grandparents be included in Secret Santa? My sister says no, they should get their own gift. While I love the fact that your sister feels like grandma and grandpa should get a gift, I fully support that. There's another side. Number one, I don't believe it's your sister's decision to make, and I don't believe it's yours or anyone else's to make. What do the grandparents want to do? Don't take that right away from them if they want to make that decision. If this is going to save the grandparents money, because let's say prior to being part of the Secret Santa or a name drawing, they were purchasing gifts for everyone and this would save them money, I fully support that. And I will share a story with you why that is. Several years back, I proposed to my in-laws as well as my own parents to scale back on spending. The family has grown so much. They have several grandchildren now, and it makes no sense for them to be purchasing for all of their children and then the grandchildren. Gift giving is part of the season. We all enjoy it, but I believe as adults, we get the most pleasure by watching the children open gifts. And with knowing that most grandparents are retired and are on a fixed income, if they can save money by not purchasing gifts for their children anymore and enjoy purchasing for the grandchildren, I think it's fantastic. Gift ideas for coworkers or bosses. I did talk about this a couple weeks ago on Instagram stories. I am not a fan of novelty type things or knick-knack type things. Now that doesn't mean everyone feels that way, but when we are at the age that I am, or we are grown adults, how many of those novelty items do we need? So I don't have the answer of what the right gift is, but I can tell you what the wrong gift may be. When you have to purchase a gift for someone, number one, don't think about what you would like, because that's not necessarily what the recipient is going to like. Don't assume someone likes wine unless you truly know they like wine. And to give someone a bottle of wine, you have to somewhat know that they are enjoying wine in their home. That's different than just having a couple glasses of wine on occasion when you go out to dinner. Candles can make a lovely gift, but not everyone burns candles. I specifically know of a few people that will never burn a candle. They have no desire. So what I would do is avoid purchasing anything that you don't really know. You're just assuming they may like it. You want to really think about what is something that maybe I wouldn't enjoy, but they truly would enjoy it. I know it's not very personal, but I believe money and gift cards make fantastic gifts. Also, you can purchase gift cards for certain restaurants that are part of a chain where they can choose from 5 or 6, maybe 3, 4, whatever it is, off of one gift card. I think those are fantastic. There's also gift cards that cover stores like Macy's, Nordstrom, Sephora, where you can pick what store you want to go to. So if you get them a $25 gift card, they can choose where they're going to spend it based off of the different options. I think that's fantastic because generally at least one of the places is going to be a home run. My daughter's fiance's parents are coming for Christmas dinner. Do I give them a gift? This depends. I don't feel it is necessary for you to give your daughter's fiance's parents a gift. They're coming to your home, so it's not necessary. But there is a good chance because you are hosting them for dinner, they will give you a gift. If that is going to create guilt in you, then I would say you may want to have a gift on hand. For me, I would not feel guilt. If someone gives me a gift and I didn't exactly expect it, I don't feel bad about that. I think there is a skill to being just a good gift receiver. And I know for myself, when I give a gift to someone, I am never, ever expecting anything in return. So I would never look at that person negatively if they didn't return a gift back. I get my pleasure from giving a gift. If you come from that lens, I wouldn't feel pressure unless you want to. If you truly want to gift them something, by all means do it, but don't feel obligated. But again, because you're hosting, I would not be the least bit surprised if they gift you something. If they do and you don't gift something back, be a gracious acceptor. Accept it with grace. That's the most important thing. With the fact that you host parties often, do you personally like receiving Hostess gifts? This is a great question because it's directed towards me. Well, I can't say that I would ever decline a gift or not be thankful for a gift. And yes, I guess of course I would enjoy a gift, but I never feel the need to receive a gift. I never feel as if someone shows up to a party that I am hosting that they should come with a gift. I don't expect it. It does not cross my mind. I am absolutely thankful. The most important thing for, I believe, the person giving the hostess gift is to recognize that when someone is hosting a party, they are very busy, especially at the beginning of that party and typically the whole entire evening. That just comes with hosting. I get great pleasure out of that. But due to that, I don't have time to open gifts. So if someone arrives and they have a gift bag and they give it to me, I generally have a designated place, not where anyone can see, where I put those gifts. Typically it's in my home office. I have like an armoire and there's some spare room in there. That's generally where I will put gifts that people give when I host a party. And then the next day I will open those gifts. So I think it's important if you're the gift giver to understand that don't expect the hostess to have time to open your gift. I know you may want to see her reaction, but it's really disrespectful to hold your host up. It really is. The other thing is you never want to give a gift that they have to do anything with. You don't bring a bouquet of flowers because the host is not going to have time to put those flowers in a vase. That has happened to me in the past, and it really is a disruption. I believe I just delegated for someone else to take care of it. Also, you may not have a space because you've already decorated everything and you have everything set up just the way you want it. So just remember that if you're going to bring an arrangement, you may want to talk to the host ahead of time and let them know, I'd like to send you a floral arrangement for the party. Are you okay with that? I really believe there's so much power in communication. No one mentioned gift exchange at Thanksgiving. Should I bring it up? If no one brought it up and no one has brought it up since, then I think that really just depends on how important it is to you. There's nothing wrong with communicating. It's just a conversation. If you're going to have any negative energy or anxiety about being the one to do it, then maybe not. It just depends on the type of person you are. For myself, if I just want to have a conversation with a few people and pick their brains, hey, are you interested in doing a gift exchange this year? What are your thoughts? Without me imposing what my thoughts are, because I don't want anyone to feel obligated. But if I'm just checking in with one or two family members and saying, what are your thoughts around this? Once I get that feedback, then I will decide what I'm going to do with it. But I never like to be in control or take 100% charge. I'm a communicator. I like to feel people out and see where they feel on that platform. So you take that however you would like. What if someone doesn't stick to the gift budget originally agreed upon? Oh, this is another one where I definitely have some pretty solid feelings. And I did talk about this on Instagram stories as well a couple of weeks ago. I believe when there is a budget set for a gift exchange or a Secret Santa, there needs to be a range, because if someone were to say $20 and you spend $23 or $25, I think that's perfectly acceptable. That's why I typically like to do a range. Let's say the budget is $25 to $30. I do believe it is important for everyone to stay within that budget. If you follow me on Instagram stories, I shared a story about a Secret Santa exchange that took place in our family several years ago, and it literally got it got heated between the women because someone had brought what was supposed to be, I believe, maybe a $15 ladies gift. She spent well over $50. And it was one of those games where people can steal from one another. Well, number one, there's a couple things that happened. That was beautiful and very generous of the person. But sometimes that can be somebody trying to one-up everyone else, and that never really comes off good. To me, a classy person would never do that. That doesn't mean it's always the person's intent. I would say more times than not, that's not the reason behind it, but we don't know. So you don't want someone to view you that way, like you are trying to be better or one-upping everyone. Also, it can make the people that stuck within the budget feel really bad when other people are opening their gifts. So I think it's a respect that you stay within the budget, but I also believe there's a range. Now, if someone were to ask me, okay, Tracy, I found a $30 gift and I got it half off at $15, and I'm in a gift exchange where we spend $15. I think it's going to depend on what the item is. If it's really going to be offset, then I would stick with something that is of value in about the $15 range. And again, this is more out of respect for the other people that are showing up with gifts that are staying in that budget. If I am in a gift exchange and the budget is $15 to $20, I am going to stay within $15 to $20. That's what was agreed upon, and I feel that's what's in my best interest, and that's how I want to show up for other people. How do you handle that if someone's not? That would have been handled when everyone did the name drawing or when everyone was together to determine the Secret Santa. That's when I would hope someone would speak up and say, listen, everyone, let's make sure we stay within that budget. And if you're saying it from a good place and you're not being bossy and controlling, I see no reason why that shouldn't go over well, but all family dynamics are different. Is it proper to not give a gift to your grown nieces and nephews that are of the age of 20 or older? Absolutely. If that is what you're choosing to do, you certainly should not feel pressured to purchase gifts for your nieces and nephews of any age, really. It just depends on what the family has decided. Even if other aunts and uncles to these nieces and nephews purchase gifts for them, that doesn't mean that you need to. We often believe that everyone needs to be cohesive and consistent, but that's not necessarily the case. I believe we all get to choose what we do. In our family, we don't purchase gifts for the nieces and nephews. I don't even know if we ever have. I believe the nieces and nephews, well, pretty much nieces in my family, but from early on, they were in their own name drawing. Of course, I have 5 children, so there would be 5 gifts purchased, but it was just like a typical name drawing, or I don't want to say Secret Santa because there was no secret really behind it except that no one knew who had their name. But my husband and I didn't purchase gifts for our nieces and nephews. Our girls would draw one name and they would purchase that gift. That's what worked in our family. There was never any negative energy about it. Everyone liked that system. I really believe all families are going to be different when it comes to gift giving. But at the end of the day, I believe that you and your spouse or significant other get to do what works for you. We all have different amounts of money to work with. We're on different budgets, and you should always be in a good place with your budget when you're considering what you're doing for gift giving. You should never compromise your own financial freedom when it comes to gift giving. To scale back this year, everyone has agreed to no gifts except my mother-in-law. She is not on board. What should we do? Well, I don't know the lens that the mother-in-law is coming from. Is this more about control? Because sometimes it is. Also, there are certain family members that don't like change. And I think that's unfortunate because I see so many areas that as the family grows and more members come into the family, things need to be changed. Gift giving changes, parties and who's attending change, because it gets so big that we eventually have to break it down. Again, if we go back to the grandparents, if my parents and my in-laws were buying for everyone, that's just too much money. There's no reason for that. Let's just get together and enjoy one another and play games and laugh and have a good time. So it's important that we don't miss some of the advantages and the things that we enjoy about getting together, and that's the get together. If we put so much focus on the gifts, especially when it comes to adults, I don't know, is that really necessary? But understand not everyone is going to see the way that you do. If everyone has agreed to scale back this year and not do gifts, and the mother-in-law is the only one not on board, she's pretty much outnumbered. I wouldn't let it affect me, that's for sure. If this were me and this were my family, I would never even bring up the topic. It's unfortunate for her, but everyone agreed to this. So I'm not gonna bring it up. It's not a discussion we should be talking about. It just is what it is. And if she wants to purchase gifts for everyone, she gets to. But if everyone agreed, bummer. If I voted for something in my family and I was the only one that voted yes and everyone voted no, it is what it is. It's not a big deal. But some people will make it a big deal, and typically that's because they can't let go of control. I generally see it more from a tendency of that lens. When it comes to gift opening, should everyone take turns opening gifts or everyone open their gifts at once? Well, it certainly is done both ways, and there's no right or wrong answer to this, but I believe this is where you don't want one person taking control. This needs to be a conversation between all of the people and have a plan. In our family, even our extended family, we do gift opening one at a time. And a lot of it is because it goes by so fast, and we do enjoy seeing what everyone got. But that does not mean that's how it has to be. Little kids often can't wait to tear into their gifts. So you just have to see what the dynamics is in your family. And again, this is a conversation to have with your loved ones to see who's all on board. And it's important that everyone supports and comes to an agreement. I know that's that's really wishful thinking. That's how it should be. And I know it's not always that way, but I would refrain from one person taking complete control. One person can bring it up. It's all in your approach, and get feedback from everyone else. How does everyone feel about us taking turns? Or how does everyone feel about us just opening all of our gifts? I will say that on Christmas morning, right now, currently, all of our kids and their significant other or spouse, if they have one, are all at our home to open gifts in the morning. And it goes for a long period of time. And Kirsten and Tim, for example, have to leave by a certain time to go have Christmas with Tim's parents and Tim's brother. So we are somewhat on a schedule. So it generally ends up where we start out one gift at a time, and then at the end, everyone's kind of just finishing up, especially if someone has a lot of gifts. So I don't think it needs to be super set in stone, but you'll have to figure that out for your family. Moving into the topic of party invitations. How to decline to a holiday party when you simply don't want to go. No shame in the fact that you don't want to go. No one is making you go to something although you were invited. The important thing is you do follow up with the RSVP if it is requested. If it's not requested, don't worry about it. Because if the person wants to know if you're coming or not, they would ask for an RSVP, or they would verbally say, let me know if you're going to make it. Also, when you decline the offer of attending the party, you don't need to give a reason why. When people give all these reasons why, they start to sound like they're making excuses, and often they are. So be very careful with that. People pleasers have a very hard time with this. They will go on and on and on and on and on with all their sappy reasons, and it doesn't make you come off classy, and it certainly does not make you come off confident. It's okay to decline the offer and say, unfortunately, that's just not going to work for us, or unfortunately, we have prior obligations. End of discussion. I would never give more than that. And personally, if I didn't want to attend something, and my husband comes from the same place, and I would say our kids do as well, unless it's something that you really have to. You have to show up at a funeral home because someone passed away to pay your respect. We're not talking about that. If I don't want to attend a party because maybe I don't even really know the people that well, or whatever it may be, I'm just going to decline, and I'm not going to give a big song and dance why. They don't need to know. Our immediate family has grown. Is it acceptable to cut back on relatives that normally attend? Absolutely. Absolutely, in my mind. Now, there's a caveat. Not everyone is going to be thrilled about that. I have found that some people of some generations have a very hard time with change, and some are more open to it. We are in that place now in our life. We have a big family. My husband and I have 5 children. When you take each child and you have a spouse or significant other, now there's 10 children. We're expecting our first grandbaby. So once the grandchildren come along, can you just see how big this family is going to get? Clearly, and it would make sense, we are going to have to break off. And we somewhat are starting to navigate and plant that seed only because our family is so big. It's nothing personal. And that's the most important thing, is we have to take the taking it personal out. There's an acronym I share all the time in my videos and with my clients. QTIP. Like the Q-tip that you clean your ears with? QTIP. Quit taking it personally. It's nothing personal. And of course we want to see our loved ones, but it gets to such a large scale that it's too much. So I'm perfectly fine with it. Just be careful and understand that not everyone is going to be on board. Are you okay with that or are you not? For me, it's unfortunate that some people are going to see it from a negative instead of a positive, but I can't change that. I can't make someone see it my way. I don't even try. I would propose it and just say, this is what's best for our family because it's grown so much, and leave it at that. But it just depends on the type of person you are. And it's always in the approach, and it's only a conversation. Would you continue to invite family members to the parties you host if they never show up and attend nor RSVP? Well, no, I guess probably not. If I hosted, let's say, a party 5 years in a row, we used to host a party in mid-December, the Saturday in mid-December, which would be like next Saturday, every single year. We did this for 13 years straight. If I invited someone, let's say the first 5 years, and they didn't attend, I probably wouldn't invite them anymore. Clearly, they have no interest in coming. That's okay. I don't take it personally. It's no big deal. So, what's the big deal? It depends on how much of a big deal we want to make out of it. When it comes to RSVP, there are definitely family members that just are not responsible when it comes to RSVP. I'm sure it travels in other areas of their life. That's okay. It's just information. I typically will reach out to that person. I will directly reach out and say, listen, the RSVP was supposed to be yesterday and we're trying to get our final numbers. Can you please let me know if you're going to attend or not? And I make it quite clear that if you say yes, I'm expecting you, because generally I am outsourcing something where I am paying by the person, and I don't have negative energy about sharing that information because I don't share it in a negative way. It's a conversation. I'm just communicating. We are paying for dinner by the person. So please let me know if you're going to make it and how many. Are both of you, I want to be crystal clear. If two people are invited and she texts me back and says, yeah, I'll be there, I'm going to verify, is it just her or is her spouse coming as well, or is someone else coming as well? Most hosts know this, but often people that have never entertained or don't have any background with entertaining, they don't understand the power in RSVPs, and they don't mean they don't mean harm. There's no ill intent, but it clearly is irresponsible. But again, they probably don't recognize this. So don't hold it against someone, but you have to decide for yourself if you're going to base it on the RSVP. On attendance, definitely. If someone's not showing up year after year, I just wouldn't invite them. Clearly, they have no interest, and that's okay. Moving on to questions that have to do with being a party host or being a party guest. How do you feel about taking leftovers home from a house party? I always decline because I don't want leftover food after people have touched it. I have found that some people get offended by my declining the offer. There's nothing wrong with not wanting to take food home, and it makes sense that you wouldn't want to. Often there's plenty of things that have sat out for hours that really aren't going to be suitable for leftovers either. The fact that people are taking offense to it, you have to decide if that's going to bother you, because you don't mean harm. But if you feel bad about that, then you may just take the leftovers, pitch them when you get home. It's unfortunate, but if that's what you need to do to save them from disappointment, then I would say do that. I would say do what you're going to feel good about. I wouldn't, if I offered someone leftovers and they declined to take them, I would QTIP. I would never take that personally. I would never take offense to that. So understand that those that do, there's probably a lot of areas of their life where this is happening, and maybe that's just typical for them and it's not that big of a deal. They just take offense to things, everything. So it's a hard It's a hard question for me to answer because I think it just depends on you. At the end of the day, we don't want to go home from a party and have any regret. So always ask yourself, how am I going to feel about this? Is it proper to have music playing when hosting a party? Absolutely. I believe I always have music playing. I have a little box that Bluetooths to my phone. I don't have the volume up. People should be able to talk and hear one another. So I have the box kind of off to the side and I have it low enough where you can hear it, and it's always music that's appropriate for what's going on. For example, if I am hosting a Christmas party, I'm probably going to have on Pandora Lady Antebellum Holiday. That's the channel that I love. It's a mellow music. I mean, there's a little bit of upbeat. It's a lot of country artists, a couple Christian artists, but it's soft and it's mellow. It's nothing too in your face, especially because we're engaging in conversation. Also, instrumental music or classical music is great as well, but I am a huge fan of always having music in the background, but keeping it low as to not disrupt anyone's conversation. Is it rude for guests to arrive late or leave early to attend another invite if there is an actual dinner? Great question. I do talk about this in my other 2 videos where I talk about being a classy party guest or keeping it classy during the holidays. So recommend that you watch those videos. A lot of the things I'm talking about will also be in those videos. It makes sense that during the holidays, people are going to have more than one party on a given date. That's to be expected, and we should give that grace. However, people should never, ever arrive or leave during the window of dinner. And that is why, and I talk about this in the videos, you must, if you are hosting a party, and you are having dinner at that party, you must include what time dinner will be served. I always start our parties 1 to 2 hours before dinner is served, always. And I talk about the reasoning why in those videos, because people don't want to arrive and eat. So if we're having dinner at 7, it will say cocktail hour starts at 5:30, dinner will be promptly at 7. That means that at 7, no one is coming or going. No one. That is so irresponsible, and it just is not, it is not classy at all. At all. Again, the person doesn't mean harm, so I don't want to use the word rude. I'm very careful of the words that I use, because if someone's doing something to hurt you in any way, physically, mentally, emotionally, and they're doing something ill-spirited, that's one thing. Most often, if someone's showing up at 7 when you're sitting down to have dinner, they're not doing it to be negative or to be mean. They just don't know. And that's when it's unfortunate. That is why we must educate our children. And that's why you must be watching my videos, so that you can be a class act, so that you can have good skills. Obviously, emergencies happen, things happen. We're not talking about that. That's completely different. If someone got into a fender bender, they're going to be late and they arrive in the middle of dinner, we are going to give you grace. That's different. But note this somewhere. You do not show up when dinner is already started. You would either go to that party prior to dinner and you would leave before, or you would come to that party after dinner. So you decide which party you're going to during the dinner hours and which party you are going to attend either before or after. Very important, great question. What is a polite way to leave a party early without looking rude? Stemming off of the last question, and another great question, by the way, just make sure you're not leaving when people are eating. The host should not have to get up to say goodbye to you, to walk you to the door, to get your coat. You need to plan this out. You need to be organized and manage yourself, because you don't want to be viewed as what some people would say rude, and it can look that way. So it's important that you time it right, but I also am a stickler on the fact that you always go to the host and tell them goodbye. You don't need to make your rounds with everyone else. I don't know why anyone would frown on you leaving early as long as you weren't leaving in the middle of something. You don't leave in the middle of dinner. You don't leave in the middle of gift opening. You leave when people are mingling, and you always go to the host, you thank them, and you exit. You don't take up too much of their time. I do talk about this in the Classy Ladies video on being a good party guest. So those videos are a must. Do you encourage your guests to help themselves? Yes, I do. And let me share that typically we are not doing a sit-down dinner. We are doing some type of buffet. And I may at some point, probably not this year, do a video on how to properly set up a buffet, because there is a skill to it. And I believe that I have it nailed, but I don't know that I would get it in this year. I think it would be good next year, maybe 2 weeks before Thanksgiving, to help you plan. But typically our parties are done buffet style. So when I let everyone know we are going to eat, and generally I will say a blessing, or my husband will, I will announce anything that is of significance that's taking place. Maybe someone just graduated, or someone is expecting, or we have newlyweds. I always like to honor whatever could be celebrated. So I will do a little speech of some sort, thank everyone for attending, thank everyone for bringing a dish to pass if they did, for the help, whatever. I always have something just coming from my heart. It's nothing I read. And then I will give the blessing or whatever. Then I will tell people to help themselves. Absolutely. But I also always have hors d'oeuvres sitting out. And if hors d'oeuvres are sitting out when people arrive for cocktail hour, we don't have to tell people typically to help themselves. That food is out and they can see that. It's when the meal is set up that you're going to give the cue. No one would ever jump in the buffet line. Well, in our family, they wouldn't. I would hope that wouldn't happen. And again, not in our family, that would never happen. But once I give the cue that it's okay, let's eat, everyone will help themselves. If you have divorced parents, how do you feel about both attending the same gathering? Fully support it. Fully support it. My parents divorced when I was 16. They were married for 19 years. We don't do any parties separate. When our girls had a birthday, they had one birthday party. We are not getting together with my mom and getting together with my dad. Thankfully, this was never an issue, and if it were, that's not my problem. That would be theirs, and that's the way I look at it. We should not be accommodating our divorced parents. That's their issue. Well, and if they have an issue still, someone's still hung up on the other person. So always remember that if you haven't moved on, you're just the prisoner or slave to it. So always remember that, especially if you're divorced. If you're still hanging on and tripped up by something, you're renting real estate right here. But your kids and your grandchildren have nothing to do with your divorce, and they should not be the ones that suffer. There should be one party for gatherings. Now, it may be different for Christmas. You may have, if your father is remarried, they may have their Christmas, and then your mom and her spouse may have her Christmas, and then your in-laws have their Christmas. I can see that. I'm talking about when you host a party. If you're hosting one Christmas party, then, and it's everyone, then everyone should be included. And if one or the other don't want to come, let them deal with that. That's not about you. QTIP, quit taking it personally. Has nothing to do with you. And don't let anyone make you feel that it does. Their divorce has nothing to do with you. And then they also put in here, what about if they have significant others or are remarried? Yeah, absolutely. Clearly, if they remarried, I would hope that they are now in love with the person they're with and they shouldn't be having a hang up with someone else. You would think. But anyway, we could do a whole new topic on that. It can get sticky, but this is where healthy boundaries come in. Are you establishing healthy boundaries with your loved ones? If there's a divorce in the family, you may need to ask yourself, because the people pleaser is generally going to cater to everyone, and then they're the ones who are exhausted, bitter, and resentful. With your bedtime being so early, how do you manage getting up so early after a late night at a holiday party? Great question. So this is directed towards me. I take the sleep-in day. I take the sleep-in day. Now, my body is not always cooperative. If we get home from a holiday party at 10, 11 o'clock, I'm gonna hope that I can sleep in pretty late the next day, but my body may not be on the same page, but I can guarantee you I'm not getting up and doing a workout. And generally, I will sleep in a little bit later. If I've been drinking, I don't sleep super well anyway, so I already kind of expect it's not gonna be a great night of sleep, and especially if I've been eating later as well. Those two things really affect my sleep. And typically, I don't feel like I ever drink too much, but typically it's too much food and then a little bit of cocktails with it. It's just not setting up for a good night's sleep. But yeah, I don't get up at 4 a.m. if I'm up late. Anytime. I schedule my sleep-in days all the time. In fact, next week, we're celebrating Pips's 15th birthday, and we won't even be having cake and ice cream till about 7 because it's on a weeknight and everyone's coming over for dinner around 5:30. So I probably won't get to bed until by the time I clean up, 9, 9:30, 10. You better believe that I am planning a sleep-in day the next day. So that's how I work that. Well, there you have it. Great questions. Thank you for submitting them. And bear in mind, this is only my sharing how I would handle things. Everyone is going to be different. I'm not here to tell you what to do. You have to figure it out and navigate that journey on your own. Don't forget to come back Friday where we're really honing in on the family dynamics, the culture of that whole family gathering, and what people are showing up with, and all the negatives, and mother-in-laws and sister-in-laws and all the things that you guys threw my way. That is a video in itself. So that will be coming this coming Friday. Don't forget to check out all of the holiday gift guides. They will all be linked in the description box below. And really, really important to watch my 2 videos where I shared, I think, 10 tips to keeping it classy during the holidays, and then another one on being a fantastic party guest, and there's also tips on how to be a fantastic host. Those will be linked. Very important to watch those. And there you have it. I will see you back here on YouTube this coming Friday. Take care.